Alright guys, you saw the title and thumbnail video. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing a 400 elo chess game, and it's one of the worst chess games ever. Like, actually, it's just straight up terrible. But before beginning, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subs. I would really help the channel a ton. If you're really interested, you can also drop super thanks. Without further ado, let's just begin. So, the game starts off with e4. Then we have the response, pawn to d5, which is so far normal. And by the way, yes, in the title, if you do technically count misses and mistakes and inaccuracies as blunders, yes, there are 31 blunders, technically. I mean, it's fine. We already reviewed the game with about, how many? Like, 57. And the next move that we have is captures. Now, so far, everything's normal. Now, realistically, you should capture back with the queen. I mean, that's the normal move. But instead of that happening, the player decides to play knight to f6, and they spent 8 seconds about it. Okay. And then we have the move from white, trying to defend this pawn. Pawn c4. Now listen, okay? I wouldn't really recommend this as a very good move because, like, it kind of just makes this pawn very weak, although to be fair, it is supported by the bishop. But, like, if the bishop ever leaves this pawn's sight, it could become a target very easily. And maybe something like pawn b5 could just totally destroy it. Like, this happens, then this could happen. And never mind, the computer apparently believes it's winning because, yeah, this pawn is actually defended by the bishop. Okay, but still, like, later on in the game, you might not be able to activate the bishop in this case. Then we have pawn to c5, and you can literally play en passant. And I know it's not a good move, according to the engine, but still, you should play en passant whenever you can, as long as it's not like a totally losing move. But instead we have the response, pawn to h4, and literally I just have no idea what this even achieves. This is worse than en passant. Then we have pawn e5. Once again, you can play en passant. Play it, please. But instead of that happening, we have pawn g3. What's even happening? Okay, then we have bishop f5. And now white is just winning automatically because they're up a pawn. And I guess they have a lot of control over here and also in the center. That's why they're winning. Then we have pawn f4. And this is a mistake, according to the engine. Then we have pawn captures. Then we have pawn recaptures. Then we have bishop e4. The idea, obviously, is just to attack this rook. And white defends it perfectly by developing their knight. Then we have bishop d6. And trust me, guys, the game will get good very soon, as you can see. Yeah, the game is going to get really bad. And then we have knight c3, which the idea is obviously just like to kick out this bishop or just make it trades. And instead, black plays the move pawn h5, just ignoring all of this. Okay, guys, whenever you can, you should always trade the knights for bishops. Like, although I do prefer the knight, because like if you're low on material, like if you're not winning, I would say don't sacrifice the knight unless you have the bishop pair. Like if you have the bishop pair, then yes, the bishop pair is better than two knights. If you only have one bishop, I'd say sacrifice it for a knight. The reason is because in endgames, knights can just totally change the game because if they land perfectly, yeah, you could just lose everything. And we have the move knight captures, which is the best move. Knight recaptures, and then we have pawn to d3. And then we have queen a5 check, which is not a terrible move because, well, you know, the knight is in danger, so you're trying to protect it. Although something like, wait, if the bishop goes over here, knight captures, queen captures, then queen captures, then, wait, no, not that move, just ignore the king going to e2. Then knight captures over here, and then long castle, then, yeah, the game is still basically normal. But instead we have the move, like, instead of white deciding to block with maybe the bishop or the knight, apparently they just didn't want to trade at all. And we have the move king e2. Why? Like, you're winning. You should trade. Like, even if, like, okay, so I know a 400 can't see, like, if they're winning, like, by position. So, I mean, like, it should at least be obvious by the material. You should always trade if you're winning. And then we have the move knight to g3 check, which just wins the rook. Now the king goes to f2, attacking the knight. And instead of capturing, we have bishop captures. What? Why? So the rook just moves out of the way and launches an attack on the knight. And instead of dealing with that, black plays pawn to h5. Oh no, not pawn to h5, pawn to g5. What's even happening? And white actually did the best move, which is capturing this knight, which is not the best move apparently, but it's like the second best move. Bishop captures, then king captures. By the way, guys, believe it or not, in the beginning of the game, not end games, two pieces, a knight and a bishop, are worth more than a rook. Not just by points, but in like the beginning of the game. But if you can sacrifice a knight and a bishop for a rook in the end game, you 100% should. Because in the end games, rooks become far more powerful. And then we have pawn captures. King captures. Then we have queen a6. Okay. Then we have pawn b3, building this whole pawn structure. And then we have queen f6 check. And the king goes back. And then, yeah, black just captured the rook. And the reason this is winning, although obviously no 400 will ever find this, is because of queen e1. Because if the king goes to any of the dark squares, you can just do discovered attack on the queen with check, and there's just nothing they can do about it. Because, like, even if they defend, they just lose their rook as well. So yeah, it's just totally lost for them. And if they go over here, exact same thing. But you just lose the bishop. I mean, you're still winning, and black's position is totally destroyed. And if they go over here, you can do this. And yeah, you're going to force the king onto a dark square. And no matter which one, they are going to have to surrender the queen. In fact, king d6 is literally just mate in 2. Well, no, not that apparently, because... Oh yeah, the queen can be captured. Oh, okay, let me try find it. Okay. Oh, wow, that is actually... Wow. Okay. But instead of that happening, we have pawn a4. And now the advantage is just totally gone. 100%, because that move, queen to e1, just wasn't found. And then we have short castle. And really quick thing, guys. You should never castle in the area that the pawns are completely destroyed. It's not a good idea. It just isn't, because the king is just very vulnerable. Like, you can see that although that like black is winning by 4 points of material, they're only winning by 1 point because the king is just so weak. While this king is actually defended by their pieces. Then we have the move king h4, going for this pawn. Well, it can just be defended in one move. And in fact, we have queen f6 check. And the king goes even deeper into black's territory and just captures the pawn. Which is not a good move at all, apparently. I mean, how surprising, but anyways. Then we have rook e8, taking control of the file, which is not a bad move at all whatsoever. And very quick thing that I would like to mention, if you actually play rook d8, it's actually not a very good situation because this can happen and you'll have to play like this. And then the king has to move and then the rook would have to move. So yeah, guys. Always in chess, make sure that bishop can't just pin 2 pieces. Always, basically, I just want to mention that. And then, guys, we have bishop g5. Oh, whoops. And now the queen will just move. But instead of that, we have rook e5. And now the game is just a total draw. Because black's idea was that the bishop is pinned to the king, so the bishop can't capture. But the knight can just capture. So now, black's advantage is just totally gone. Because there's just 1 point of material advantage, but their king is just very weak. But then we have the move bishop g2, which just loses the game. And we have knight to d7, which is a good move. And maybe this was the winning move? No, apparently that would actually just turn the game equal. Oh, it blunders the bishop. Oh, yeah, you can just go over here. king has to move, you can capture, and yeah, it's just totally dead lost. Yeah, I just noticed. Okay, guys, really quick thing that I would like to mention. When I play chess, usually I don't think that long before making a move. So, yeah, I think this is an example of why you should always think at least like 10 seconds before you make a move. Because in this situation, I did not notice they could just win the bishop for free. Instead, I made a very quick move. So always think at least 10 seconds before each move. Piece of advice. Anyways, we have knight to d7, then we have queen f1, then we have pawn f6, which obviously just kicks out the bishop. Then we have pawn d4. The idea is that if you capture the bishop, I capture your queen. But the problem is this, guys, at low elo, like 400 elo, not like 100 elo, because at 100 elo players don't even understand these concepts. At 400 elo, the problem is that like players usually just make one move threats, which can just be dealt with very easily. And yeah, this actually blundered mate in one. Because that's just mate. Instantly. Queen captures, supported by the pawn. But that didn't happen. If that happened, the video would be not very long. So instead, we have pawn captures. And then we have bishop to h3 once again. Mate in one, blundered again. But that didn't happen. Instead, we have rook to d8. And then we have bishop captures once again. Mate in one. Blundered 3 times in a row. But that didn't happen. And now the queen captures. So eventually, they have a trade of queens. And then we have pawn d3. So now the pawn is just trying to promote pretty much. Then we have bishop g5. Then rook gives a check. King moves. Then king g7. And now the winning move. Just stop the pawn. Well, no, apparently that isn't the winning move. What is it? What could it be? Is it to go for the pawn? No, it's not. Oh, pawn d6. Oh. Yeah, because it's difficult to stop this pawn from promoting without also trying to protect your own pawn. Oh yeah, and this bishop just makes sure this pawn will never promote. So you have to bring the rook over here, and if you do, you push the pawn. And if this happens, you can just promote. Because if they push, you just capture. And now the game is basically a draw, and if black doesn't play this perfectly, it's actually very much losing for black. And this is 400 elo, so there's no chance black is going to play this perfectly. We have king g6, and we have pawn c5. And this is losing. Because now, well, no, that actually just blunders the rook won't move. I think now, like, you can probably just play something like this, maybe? Okay, it's not, like, totally keeping the advantage, but still, you can probably eventually just, like, maybe go over here, try and make sure your pawn promotes, like, kind of just like, well, no, wait. This is the winning move, I think. Because, you know, like, the pawn is basically guaranteed to promote. They have to sacrifice. And then you can just use your rook to destroy all of their pawns. And then just promote your 2 pawns, or even just checkmate it with the rook. But instead, we have the move pawn b6. Now the game is totally winning for white. If they found this simple move, pawn c6. Because these 2 pawns are literally unstoppable. This rook cannot stop them because they'll just support each other. But that didn't happen, and we just have captures. So then we have pawn b4. Wow. Then we have king f7. And now the game is totally losing. Because you can just push this pawn. So then, the king moves. Well, no, not the king. The pawn. To d2. Obviously trying to promote, even though it can just be captured very easily. Instead, we have pawn turns into queen. I mean, still a good move because, like, it doesn't matter if you capture or not. And it's a draw. What the hell? Oh, you go over here. Well, no, wait. Wait, how's it a draw? Wait. What? How is this a draw? What? Oh. Okay, well, apparently, yeah, I just don't know too much about endgames, I guess. And we have to move pawn d2, then we have queen. And yes, that is 100% the best move anyways, because, you know, this pawn can't even promote, so what was I even thinking? Wow. Then we have rook h2 trying to defend it. I mean, in this position, honestly, it's totally fine to just sacrifice the queen, because a bishop and 2 pawns will definitely defeat just 1 pawn. That's not even considering the kings. But instead we have check, which is still a good move. Then we have bishop captures. The rook gives a check, the king moves. The rook moves. And now, all you have to do is play bishop h7. And then the rook is just pinned. There's nothing you can do. Because that's just forced checkmate. That doesn't happen. Instead we have check. And this just allows the queen to get pinned. Instead we have king e7. Another check. And black just blunders the rook. Okay. Then we have king c6. Then we have a5. Captures. Captures. Then we have king b5. Then we have g5 check. Then we have king a6. Then we have queen f6 check. King goes to b5. Then we have a6, c4. Well, no, not apparently a7, no. Then we have, oh, bishop e3. Wait, what? Oh, this is e3, okay. Anyways, we have king d5, then we have pawn a7, then the king goes back, because, well, these are the only moves you can make. Then we have queen. Then we have king d3. Then we have queen d6 check. Wait, where is it? Oh, there, okay. Then we have king c4. Then we have queen to c6 check. b3, because it's forced. And then we have queen to d5. King goes to b4. Then we have queen to c5. Okay. King goes over here because it's forced anyways. Then we have this move. Well, you know, just queen to d5 check again. Then we have king b4. It's obvious that black is just hoping for a stalemate. And then we have d4. Wait. Which one? Okay. Then the king went over here. And then we have queen d3 over here. Okay. d3 is right here. Okay. Yeah. And, yeah, black lost by time. Although, to be fair, I bet you that if black had more time, probably this game was going to end in stalemate. And to be honest, that would have been even worse. But okay. And yeah, guys, that's the whole game. To be honest, this game was nothing but just total chaos and just a bunch of blunders overall. It's not like one of the worst games ever, but it's still very bad. And yeah, the fact that all of the like actual blunders, the 6 blunders, were caused by the same player, yeah, that's kind of concerning, but okay, we'll ignore that. And yeah, guys, this is the whole video. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and a sub. I would really help the channel a ton. If you really enjoyed this video, you can also drop super thanks, comment down below, like, any game you may want to see me review next. Without further ado, I will see you guys